The world can shatter in a single whisper. I learned that on the day I was supposed to stand tall at the base ceremony, the day everything I'd worked for was meant to be honored. My sister's hand clamped down on my arm, her eyes wide with something between fear and urgency. "Turn the car around now," she whispered, almost trembling. I froze. My hand hovered over the steering wheel. "Why?" I asked, my voice tight. "Just trust me. Please." Something in her tone told me this wasn't a joke, wasn't nerves. Against all logic, against everything I thought I knew, I obeyed. And that decision didn't just save my life, it revealed a web of betrayal, revenge, and secrets so deep that I would never look at family, loyalty, or trust the same way again. My name is Alyssa Raymond, and for as long as I can remember, I dreamed of serving something bigger than myself. My father had been in the Air Force, my grandfather before him. Discipline and honor were etched into our bloodline. From the time I was 10, I knew my path. I would earn my commission, serve my country, and prove to myself and the world that I wasn't just Evelyn's little sister. Evelyn, my older sister, was the golden one. Beautiful, intelligent, charismatic. The kind of person who could walk into a room and have everyone wrapped around her finger without lifting a hand. She chose a different path, business and politics, but her shadow followed me everywhere. Teachers compared us, neighbors praised her. Even when I graduated top of my training class, I'd hear, "Of course she did, she's Evelyn's sister." But beneath that glow, there was tension between us. Evelyn had secrets, walls she never let me climb. Sometimes she'd vanish for weeks with vague excuses, then return with a smile and bags of expensive gifts. I'd ask where she got the money, she'd brush me off. I wanted to believe she was just ambitious, but deep down, I knew there was more. Still, she was my sister. Blood. My anchor. And when I received the invitation to the base ceremony, the official recognition of my service, I begged her to come. She hesitated, like she always did with anything military-related, but finally agreed. That morning, we got in my car. I was proud, nervous, excited. My uniform was crisp, my heart pounding with the thought of standing before my superiors. My future was waiting at the base. But Evelyn, she was restless, quiet, staring out the window like her mind was carrying a weight too heavy to share. I remember glancing at her and saying, "What's wrong? You're acting like you're going to a funeral." She gave me a brittle smile. "Nothing. Just thinking." I thought it was nerves about being around military officials. Evelyn always disliked authority. But as we drew closer to the base, her hands began to tremble, and her breathing grew shallow. And then, that moment. Her hand gripping my arm, her voice a whisper of desperation, "Turn the car around now." I don't know why I listened. Maybe it was the way her eyes darted toward the road ahead, or the quiver in her lips, or maybe some instinct older than reason, the bond of blood telling me she was serious. I slowed, pulled to the side, and turned off the road. "Evelyn," I said, my pulse hammering, "what the hell is going on?" She shut her eyes, exhaled shakily. "If you keep driving to that ceremony, you won't make it back alive." The air seemed to crack around me. I gripped the wheel until my knuckles whitened. "What are you talking about?" "There's a bomb at the base," she whispered. I laughed, too sharply. "That's insane. Do you realize what you're saying? That's treason." "I know," she shot back, her voice breaking. "And I know who planted it." She turned to face me fully, her eyes glistening. "Alyssa, it was me." The world tilted. I stared at her, the sister I'd trusted all my life, and for a second I couldn't even process her words. My chest felt tight, my throat dry. "You're lying," I whispered. She shook her head. "I wish I was." The rest of the drive, away from the base, through back roads, was a blur of shouting, disbelief, and tears. She begged me to just keep driving, but I demanded answers. Slowly, painfully, the truth bled out. Evelyn had gotten involved with a clandestine network, not just criminals, but powerful people who thrived on chaos. Arms dealers. Corrupt officials. People who profited from instability. She'd been pulled in years ago, first with small tasks, then bigger ones. Money, influence, protection, they'd given her everything she thought she wanted. And then, the order, plant a bomb at the base ceremony. She swore she never wanted to go through with it. But she had debts, people she owed, threats hanging over her. She'd been cornered. And then she saw my name on the ceremony list, my ceremony. "That's when I realized," she said, tears streaming down her cheeks, "they weren't just attacking a base. They were going to kill you." My mind whirled. Rage, betrayal, sorrow. Every emotion colliding until I could barely breathe. "So you helped them plan an attack on my life, and now you think saying sorry fixes it?" "No," she cried. "I'm trying to make it right. That's why I told you to turn around. That's why I couldn't let you go there." I pulled the car over again, staring at her. "You should have gone to the authorities the second they approached you. You should have told me." "I was scared," she whispered. "Scared they'd kill you, Mom, Dad, everyone we love. You don't know the people I'm dealing with." Her words cut deep. But I wasn't the same naive little sister anymore. I'd been trained to see threats, to act under pressure. And one thing was clear, I couldn't just walk away. "Where's the bomb?" I demanded. Her lips trembled. "In the supply hangar. Remote trigger. They're waiting for the signal." My stomach churned. The ceremony was hours away, enough time to stop it, but only if I acted fast. "Then we go back," I said. Her eyes widened. "What?" "No. You can't. I can't let innocent people die, Evelyn. I don't care about your excuses or your fear. If you're really trying to make it right, you'll help me stop this." She stared at me for a long, trembling moment. Then, finally, she nodded. Sneaking back to the base was the most terrifying thing I'd ever done. Evelyn guided me to a service entrance she'd used the night she planted the device. My heart thudded so loud I was sure the guards would hear it. Every step felt like walking a razor's edge, between loyalty and betrayal, justice and revenge. Inside the hangar, the bombs sat hidden in a stack of crates. I felt the blood drain from my face. Evelyn hadn't lied. It was real. Deadly. And set to detonate when the ceremony began. I knelt, trying to steady my shaking hands. Training kicked in, I'd studied explosives, disarmament. But this wasn't just about wires and timers. This was about Evelyn. Every glance at her made bile rise in my throat. "You're going to have to help me," I muttered. She crouched beside me, wiping her tears. "Tell me what to do." Together, we worked, my voice low, steady despite the storm raging inside me. Each cut of a wire felt like cutting a piece of our bond, fragile, dangerous, irreversible. And then, silence. The timer froze. The device went dark. I exhaled shakily, collapsing back. It's done. But it wasn't over. Because at that moment, Footsteps echoed in the hangar. Evelyn stiffened. Her face went pale. They followed me, she whispered. Shadows emerged, 3 men, armed, faces hard with violence. And leading them was a figure I recognized from whispered rumors in the intelligence briefings. Marcus Hale, a financier turned arms dealer, one of the most dangerous men alive. Well, he drawled, eyes glittering, what do we have here? The loyal little soldier, and the traitor sister who lost her nerve. My pulse spiked. He knew. He knew Evelyn had betrayed them. Kill her, Marcus ordered coldly, pointing at my sister. Evelyn's scream ripped through me, and instinct roared to life. I lunged, tackling the nearest man, wrestling his weapon free. Chaos erupted, gunfire, shouts, the sharp tang of cordite in the air. I don't remember every second. Training took over. Move, strike, fire, survive. By the time it ended, 2 men lay unconscious, 1 wounded, and Marcus fled into the night. Evelyn sat shaking, blood splattered across her hands. You saved me. I stared at her, breathless, my weapon still hot. Don't thank me. You don't get to. The authorities swarmed the base within hours. Evelyn was taken into custody, crying, begging me to stand by her, to tell them she'd helped. But I couldn't. Not entirely. She had saved my life, but she had also endangered it. She had betrayed me, betrayed everything I stood for. In the interrogation room, she looked at me through the glass, eyes hollow. Alyssa, please. Don't let them bury me. I leaned closer, my voice low, steady. You buried yourself the moment you chose them over me. She broke down, sobbing. And in that moment, I felt both triumph and tragedy, because revenge had been delivered, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like ashes. The base was safe. The ceremony was cancelled, then rescheduled weeks later. I stood on that stage, honored for bravery, but the applause rang hollow. My sister, my blood, was rotting in a cell. And yet, I couldn't shake the whisper that had saved me. Turn the car around now. Maybe Evelyn's final act of love was stopping me from dying that day. Maybe that was her redemption. But forgiveness? That was a road I couldn't turn onto. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because some betrayals carve too deep, and even family ties can become chains of fire. The end.